as I'm driving on this way. Shout out to the supporters of Tupac Was Lyrical. Y'all know I normally wait for people to arrive and shit like that. But I just had to get this off my mind real quick. So let me try to fix this a little bit. So I just had to get this off my mind. Sitting here listening to the Makaveli album. Just sitting here listening to the Makaveli album nearly 30 years later. Listening to the Makaveli album nearly 30 years later. And y'all know I like to deal with logic. I like to deal with logic. And logically speaking, it's like when I listen to Makaveli, this album was, if Pac would have lived, yes, it sounds like one of those what ifs, but if Tupac would have lived, niggas wouldn't have been able to eat. Number one, let me start right here. My thoughts are going to be sporadic because I'm watching this dangerous ass highway, but my thoughts are going to be sporadic. And before I lose my point, number one, in 1996, there was no mention of Tupac coming out with another album. There was no mention of Tupac coming out with another album in 1996 after All Eyes on Me dropped. Truth be told, there wasn't no need for Tupac to drop another album in 1996. And plus, the vibe is different. You know, it was slower. It was slower. You know, dudes wasn't dropping albums like that. Nor were people writing rhymes as fast as Tupac was back in them days. But I say this to say that. You know, the Makaveli album, we already know Tupac was going to take the Nas diss off. So just imagine the editing Tupac would have did with the album. So the version that we got is still a complete project. But Tupac probably would have went back like, yo, let's do this over. Don't put this song here. Don't put this song here. Don't put this song here. So we got an album that Tupac made, and then he did it in 3 days. But we got an album that Death Row pretty much put out. Not necessarily Tupac's last word. Because, like I said, there wasn't no mention of Tupac about to drop another album after All Eyes on Me. Tupac had more, he said he was going to do more videos. Tupac said he was going to do more videos on the All Eyes on Me. He was going to do a video for Ambitious as a Rider and so on. So and he would have toured. He would have toured off this album. You already seen what he did at the House of Blues. That was light work. That was light work. That wasn't even, like, really, Tupac didn't even set it off. Like, the shit that we saw, that shit was nothing in comparison. Now, just now, look at his legacy now, 30 years later. But that shit was nothing in comparison had Tupac been able to live and promote the album even more with videos and concerts. So that Makaveli, you know, he changed his name, but that album would have been an afterthought. We only know about it because Pac died. And Death Row was just in a hurry to either capitalize or give the fans what they needed. Or to give the fans what they needed. Not only that, all that music Tupac made it. All that music Tupac made in 1996 until the end of time. Ballad of a Dead Soldier, Street Fame, Better Days, Who Do You Believe In, Still I Rise. All those verses from the Still I Rise album. Like, this shit, we wasn't supposed to hear none of this shit. That just goes to show you how advanced Tupac was. So just sitting here thinking about the Makaveli album, there really wasn't no, besides, well, let me correct myself, because Shock G did say he heard the Makaveli album. So I could be wrong. But if Pac would have lived and they would have really put it out, Pac probably would have switched this up here, finesse this, finesse that, because he probably would have got more feedback. For all I know, or for all we know, Shock G might have been the last person to talk to Tupac about that album. When Shock G, rest in peace, when Shock G said like, yo, what about the All Eyes on Me album? And Tupac was like, man, I ain't worried about that. I did that for Shook. This is the one I'm concerned about. So he was, you know, and all those other songs he did under the alias of Makaveli. He did so much music, bro. Troublesome. Imagine him making the video for Troublesome. Like, the shit that we heard, we only heard it because Tupac died. All Eyes on Me, alive, Tupac would have went diamond alive, bro. The Fugees did it in 1996. Tupac could have did it while he was alive. Probably even more than that, bro. Just selling the album even more so. Like, imagine him being in the videos of Scandalous. Imagine him doing a video for Ambitious as a Rider, Thug Passion. We already seen what he did with the Mad Max video. So I just say this like, yo, a lot of people would have never been able to eat, bro, if Tupac would have lived. And you got to logically look at it like all that music that Tupac was just creating, a song in 15 minutes and moving on to the next one. And if people think we're lying about Tupac creating these songs in 15 minutes, bro, it took 3 days for him to complete Makaveli. With the busy schedule that he had, with the tumultuous and traumatic life that he led. I always say, just imagine if Tupac took his time. So, bro, like, y'all really got to just look at that shit, man. It was just, and so let me just say this. Let me end it off with this. I remember will.i.am, you know, he was saying that Black Thought is 1,000,000,000 times better than Jay-Z. But there was something else that said, that will.i.am said it, that caught my attention. He was like, yo, you know, everybody's top 5 is always Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie, Tupac. Is that 4? Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie, Tupac. And I feel like there was another one, but he said the top, I think he said the top 4. Now, you can't disregard why Biggie, Nas, Tupac, and Jay-Z are always mentioned. You can't disregard that. These dudes put in work. You may not like some of their content, but for them to be always talked about lets you know that they was doing something that others weren't doing. And all these other people try to shit on Tupac's lyricism. And not even will.i.am, when you talk about Black Thought being a dope-ass lyricist, you're not even putting in context that Tupac was completing songs in 10, 15 to 20 minutes. These are facts backed up by other songwriters who were there. And all these songs that we heard is only because Tupac died. It's only because Tupac died and he was rushing. His mindset was elsewhere. That's why it's so easy for me to say Tupac is lyrical. Easy. Regardless if niggas try to say he's not. I sit back here and I just study and examine like, yo, Tupac was just doing magnificent shit, amazing shit that a lot of other niggas weren't doing. So I'm gonna end this shit off like, I just had to put that in there, man. Like, the Makaveli album is crazy. But when you think about it, he did it in 3 days. And when you think about it logically, had he lived, he probably would have switched shit up. He probably would have got inspired by other shit. Even though he had that conversation with Shock G, doesn't necessarily mean that Tupac was satisfied himself with the album, because he talked to Shock G, knowing that Shock G put him on, knowing that Shock G was a sharp producer. You know what I mean? Knowing Shock G knew about hits. And Shock G was just like, you know, yeah, I hear this album, but what about All Eyes on Me? Like, you ain't even done with that. Like, you still got gold and platinum. Every song on that motherfucker could have went gold or platinum. Every song. Out of what, 24 songs? Every song on that motherfucker could have went gold or platinum. So yeah, I just wanted to say that shit, man. I don't know who's if any smart ass comments was on here or anybody saluting me, because I'm not watching the screen, I'm watching the highway. But yeah, man, niggas wasn't fucking with Pac, bro. When you logically look at that shit, niggas wasn't fucking with Pac. And to the haters that might watch this shit, I'm not saying Tupac was better. I'm just saying at the rate Tupac was going and all the songs that he produced and the shit that he put out in this short period of time, niggas wasn't fucking with Tupac, bro. Let's keep it thorough. Let's keep it thorough from the borough. Niggas was not fucking with Tupac, man. You wouldn't have been able to eat. And I'm not even about to get into this, all these other niggas wouldn't exist, but it's a fact. If Tupac would have lived, a lot of niggas wouldn't be existing right now. In fact, hip-hop wouldn't even be the kind of hip-hop game that it is right now, bro. That's real talk.